Hey everybody, welcome back. Like I said, I'm going to put the Rapture one on hold for a little bit. I got a couple videos that I've been working on, and um, so that being said, let's just dive into it. This one, and I was kind of going back and forth with this one, whether or not men would watch it more than women, but I got a feeling it might be more women watching this one. Um, but first of all, it's out of love, people, and it's out of saving and preparing, and how to stop the devil, most of all. So somebody said something over there because they were like, "Well, you seem like your head gets cut off sometimes." And it's all right. And I'm moving the mic because somebody commented that it wasn't loud enough again. So hopefully everybody can hear this video, and hopefully this all goes as planned. Men, the thing that we don't like the most. I'm gonna go there. I'm gonna open up this can and I'm gonna set it down on the counter, and we're gonna have to smell the smell of it, I guess is a better way to say it. We all either claim to be a godly man or we're not. And I say claim because some may be doing the right things, and that's fine. But how many of us goes to church and sing the songs, or may not even sing? You may just stand there. You may just go through the motions. You may just smile, or you just might be thinking in your head, I can't wait till lunch. We've all been there. I can honestly say there's been a few times that I went to church and I got up late, didn't eat breakfast, we're scrambling around and trying to get going, and I thought about lunch. But also, there was nothing being delivered to me that day. And I was like, all I could do was go, God, please forgive me. I tried to get bits and parts of there. Then the praise and worship team comes on, and you just go, right. So far, you're probably thinking, nah, not so bad. I can deal with it. Oh. Now, how many of you go to work every day, support your family, you come home, and just vegetate? Maybe you don't come straight home. Maybe you go to a gym. Maybe you hang out with your friends. Maybe Friday night, some people go and drink at the bar. Maybe have a beer or a glass of wine or whatever it is that you do. I know some people says, well, and these are the ones I love. Well, they go, well, the Bible does say being. I said, you're right. It doesn't say nothing about drinking. But it says also about being drunken. So what's drunken? Anything that's going to make you look like a fool, anything that's going to make you say stuff, do stuff, or anything like that. But God also says that we must obey man's laws until it interferes with his laws. So what's the legal limit of drinking? Okay, that's all I'm saying on it. Now, are you one of these guys that come home and have the attitude, I've worked all day and I'm not doing anything? Do you eat dinner with your families? Are you making sure the phones are off at the table? Oh, well, here it goes. Are you being the role model? Men, if you have children at home and you have a wife at home, it's time to step it up. It's time to step it up, because your daughters watch you, whether you believe it or not. You're their shining armor. You're that knight that's going to come to their rescue anytime they need you. When they need comfort beyond a mother's comfort, they're going to come to their father. When we need comfort, And we're in a bad place. Most of the time we call on Jesus, but we still have our Father. When you're in trouble, most people call God first. Think about it. How many times you've been in a real bad situation, you go, God, where are you? Because that's the first person. And you think about it, you may go, no. You really think about how many times you called on God before Jesus. Because he's our Father. Yes, Jesus is our King. He's our Savior. He's my friend. He is my shepherd. Yes, I can call on him. But when I'm in a deep place, for some reason, his name comes out before anything. Why? Because I know if I'm calling on him, I'm calling on Jesus. If I call on Jesus, I'm calling on God. But you see where I'm going with this? You got to be over things that's going on in your house. If there's discipline needs to be done, you need to be the authority figure. Don't leave it up to your wife. In some cases, people aren't married. So I had a lady ask me, is it a sinful thing that will keep me in hell if I'm not married? But my spouse, my boyfriend, lives with me. I said, I like how you said spouse, first of all. I said, well, I got two ways of looking at it. We know how God feels about marriage. I don't know. I can honestly say I did look this up. And unless I'm missing something, it never really shows. I mean, it shows the wedding feast and it shows stuff like that. So it shows marriage. It shows what God says about marriage and what he expects out of marriage. And the order. The order is God, Jesus, your spouse, your children, then your family. Because it also says, as you are married, leave from the homes. In other words, don't stay at your parents' house. Don't stay at their parents' house. You leave, you start your own family. Your immediate family now is your wife or your husband. Then when you have children, then your family, your mother, your sisters, brothers, aunts, cousins, whatever, falls under your children. But Godhead, Jesus, your spouse, children, family, friends under that. Now, setting that bar and setting that example, they got to know where you're at. Discipline. I'm not talking about taking a belt off and beating the living tar out of them. I'm not talking slapping them across the room. You know, some kids, you remove something from there. These days, cell phones, video games, that seems to work real fast these days because they go crazy without this technology. It's why I say, shut the crap off once in a while. Yes, I said it. Shut it off because it is crap. It's the devil's crap. He's poisoning their minds. Shut it off. Get everybody together. And there's got to be one day out of the week that everybody's off work. Everybody's off school. Everybody's off doing something. Turn them televisions off. Turn them video games off. Turn them phones off. I don't care even if you don't have a board game. Most people don't these days because everything's done on phones and online and on this and on everybody else's channel but your own channel because your own channel is missing at home. It's called family. And I'm just going to put it out there. Some of these girls grow up and they run off and they go into relationships that are horrible. Because they didn't feel your love. And how do you expect them to know the Father's love if they don't know your love? You may simply say, well, I don't have to worry about this because I do this. Well, do you? Are you one of them people that come home, maybe your wife goes to work, maybe she doesn't. Maybe your girlfriend goes to work, maybe she doesn't. Maybe she stays at home. Okay, well then, what's the responsibilities? Well, to keep the house straightened up. What's straighten up? Doesn't mean to your standards. If they're cleaning, okay? Don't come home with the white glove on and rip everything apart. Or because you haven't seen them, it's not clean. I actually got a family member like that. It shocked me so bad. That's why I'm throwing this in here. I was floored when I heard that, really. Guys, I'm a male. I've had children. I've raised children by myself. I know how to clean a house. I know how to wash windows. I know how to cook. I know how to iron. I did not marry a maid. My hands are there to clean too. When I got remarried, I didn't treat my wife's kids different. I treated them the same as my own. There's no difference. I did not babyfy my children and do more for the others. Matter of fact, the youngest of my wife's now children, she got away with a lot, and my kids called me out on a lot. Dad, you would have never put up with this stuff. You would have never done this. Why? I got reasons for things that I do, but I was just and I'm fair with everything. But for the majority of it, they agreed. Yes, Dad, you did this, this, and this, the same as you have done with us. None of them can honestly say that I treated one better than the next. Matter of fact, I was a little bit harder on mine because they knew, and I expected more out of them. I didn't expect the stuff that went on, that ended up going on. I never. It got to the point that you go, but you lose control. See, when you lose control of your household, and that's where I'm telling you all this. I don't have no problem throwing my life down on the table for you, because let me tell you, you can relate to things when you hear it going, oh, because you know why? Because I'm letting you know that the devil has no place in this. You will never run across anybody where you're going to find out information on me that you haven't heard here, because I stop the devil before it comes, okay? I stop the devil before the devil comes and tries to rip me apart and destroy anything that I'm saying, because I know that's what he does. Or he sends people in here to try to get under your skin. So, I know you might say, well, if she doesn't work, why do you expect me to clean? Why do you expect me to help tidy up stuff and maybe wash some dishes? When was the last time you washed dishes with your wife? I don't care if you have a $20,000 dishwasher. I got a dishwasher, and you know what we do with it? It's full of probably Tupperware bowls and pots or anything we couldn't probably fit in one of the cabinets. I do know, honestly, coming from the maintenance field and working on appliances and you name it, I've done it. So, I forget which video was on. I just seen it, and I just wrote down that I have to go back. There's like four major videos. There's a lot of comments I got to get back to. But they said, have you always been a truck driver? No. I started off doing landscaping. And I just want to throw this in here. I started off doing landscaping. I made $2.50 an hour when I first started out working. Way back. $2.50 an hour. Seriously. I did landscaping for most of my life. I opened a business and got with my kids' mother, my first wife, and the business was doing really good. I was moving along, and well, let's just say the books showed one way, but the money wasn't there. It was my own fault because I trusted and I believed what was going on. So I was also working full time. There was times that things would get really tough with work. There was times where I would go deliver newspapers, back when newspapers were popular, you know, when we get newspapers on the doorsteps. Yeah, and I'd have to be up at like 2 o'clock in the morning to to get them all delivered in time. I'd go to work, and then 3 nights a week, I loaded trucks at the 7-Up dealership. Tired. You're talking about tired? On every break shift I had, I slept. The guys would come wake me up. On the weekends, Dad didn't stop because I'm a dad. Take care of kids, change diapers, play with them, feed them. I'm also an HVAC certified universal tech, which means, some of you probably know, some of you don't, which means I can go to Walmart's, I can go to Target's, I can work on their systems, I can work in homes, I can install stuff, you name it, whatever comes with the HVAC units, which is heating, air. Waterproof basements and stuff, I've done that. I've done construction, I've done roofing, obviously driving truck, was safety director, worked in a nursing home, stripped and waxed floors for a long time, and a lot of the stuff I did while I was still running my business. I poured everything I could into that. The one thing about a divorce, though, you tend to lose a lot. See, I didn't know about prenups, and I didn't know about all that stuff. And let's face it, when the devil sends someone into your life, they're leeches. They're just going to take whatever they can. If you're living an ungodly life, you gotta expect ungodly things to happen to you. And honestly, I wasn't living a good life. Matter of fact, it just drug me down into more places. But I always made sure my children were taken care of. So, now, how much time do you spend doing your own hobbies, whether it's working out, working on cars? I mean, I used to build hot rods, motorcycles. I mean, I spent hours and hours and hours. It was my release, so I didn't have to be around. So I don't think that I'm just speaking on stuff that I don't know about. I do. Because it was better than seeing and going through a lot. What is love? Love is something that you're willing to do and give up, no matter what the cost is to you. And I'm not telling you guys this stuff to poor me get a pat on my back, because I've never been like that in life. I'm just giving you the raw facts. I have literally slept in my car because child support was taking so much money out of me to make sure my kids were taken care of. Now, she was foolish of the money, so therefore when the kids needed something, they call me up, Dad, we don't have, so, and I never brought the financial stuff into my, well, your mom's getting child support and blah, 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 blah. All right. I'll have it for you tomorrow. No matter the cost, no matter what it was. Even if I had to take my tools and stuff, go down to a pawn shop. It's not the kids' fault. It's not the kids' fault. It's your responsibility. You helped bring these children into the world. They didn't ask to come to the world. You know God handpicks your children for you. And every child He has given, an angel comes with him. So the idea is to leave the angels here, not abort your children. You ever think about this parental rights and this abortion nonsense that they come up with and they try to prove? Well, go back into the Bible when Mary walked in, and the sound of Mary's voice, John the Baptist leaped with joy, and the Holy Spirit spoke through Elizabeth. She knew that she was pregnant with the Savior. So if he's leaping, that means he's a person, not just a thing. Just want to throw that out there. Because I know a few people got girlfriends pregnant or whatever, and they said, just go abort the thing. What if somebody would have aborted you? You ever hear the saying, don't play the game if you don't like the outcome of it? You know the outcome, you play along. You play with fire, eventually you're going to get burnt. We're turning our kids over to the devil. And we're allowing them to run the streets, allowing them to get online. That you notice when game systems came out, think about back in the day when we had ColecoVision, we had Atari, and the Pong, just a stupid little line and a ball. And we thought that was the best thing in the world. But what didn't we have? What didn't we have? I'm going to give you a couple seconds to think on this. I'm going to give you the answer. We didn't have headsets on our head with speakers. I would have put mine on to show you, but after a while, having that thing on all day, because we can't drive with phones in our hand. Matter of fact, we can only use a one touch on here or one touch on our phone. So I got a voice thing on my phone that if I need to dial a number, I just say dial such and such, and it dials it. That way all I got to do is hit the one touch, and that's it. One touch, dial. Because if I actually open my phone, go to contacts, that's two touches, then scroll, how many times I'm touching there? Well, DOT sitting on the side of the road, State Highway Patrol, goes by and sees me doing all that, and they pull me over. How many times you touch your phone, sir? What am I going to do, lie? I probably could. But then I'm bringing shame to my Lord. I'm bringing shame on myself. Notice I said Lord first. Because everything I do goes on to Him. Anything goes on to Him goes to the Father. Everything we're not doing, we're shaming Him. So it's kind of hard to start saying we're Christians now, aren't we? Because we're supposed to be God, Christ-like, and following Christ's examples. I try to clean up most of my stuff at the house. We got a laundry chute. I make sure my clothes go down it. I make a mess. I plan on cleaning it up. Now, there is times that I forget to do something, or, that might irritate my wife a little bit. But for the most part, I try to do everything to make her day easier. You may say, why? Because it's love. It's respect. I'm supposed to love my wife as Christ loves the church. That means I don't need a special holiday to tell my wife, thank you. I don't need a special day to say, here, go do something. Especially if you got a wife or a girlfriend that stays at home and takes care of kids. When was the last time you just came home, maybe ran some bath water and said, here, put some bubble bath stuff in there and just turn on some music and just shut the door and deal with the kids. Give her a moment. Don't worry, guys. I'm going to get to the women. Because I know you're probably thinking, what in the world are you doing? What about the guy code? I'm giving you the guy code. I'm giving you the guy code right now to wake up. Your friends from high school, your friends from that, wherever, the guys from work, go out and play basketball. Well, there's nothing wrong with this stuff. There's nothing wrong with any of it. But if it takes time away from God, it take time away from Jesus, and it takes time away from your wife and your kids, there's a problem. That's the problem. Discipline. Both of you got to agree on it. You got to come to a mutual thing, especially if you got families that are joined together through divorce, that kind of stuff. You have kids, she's got kids, they come in there. You better come into an agreement. Otherwise there's going to be feuds. And that's what the devil wants. Let me stop right there. If you go through a divorce, do not use your children for pawns. Ever. They're already going through enough. Do never say it's your fault. It's not their fault. I used to build cars, like I said. I put an engine together, and I had a couple $1,000s in this engine. A bunch of guys are getting around. We're all doing what we're doing. And now this is back in the day. Now people don't start throwing stones at me. I drank a lot back then. I was single. Probably a good thing. I didn't have kids. I love kids. I've always loved kids. Matter of fact, most of the time when there was an event going on or something going on, I was always playing with the kids. Because kids are not so judgmental and not so hurtful. But I'm building the engine, and anybody that builds engines and stuff, you put some oil in it, you run it a little bit, you come back, you drain the fluids out, and you add fresh. Breaking that engine in, basically. I forgot to put oil in it. I get down the road, and you think, well, wouldn't you hear it? No, man, this thing was souped up. I mean, the rumble of this thing. You couldn't tell if a lifter was knocking in this thing. Matter of fact, I had one car that used to give me a headache. I literally had to tone it down. You think back then, man, we were allowed to run straight pipes and stuff out of an engine. You put the little mufflers on there, whatever, they're glass packs. Remember the glass packs? Oh, yeah. Power there, buddy. See how quick you can forget something if you're not paying attention. Before you know it, your children are moving out or finished school, and you're thinking in your head, where did everything go? And you're going, well, they don't really talk to me so much anymore. Well, because they stopped talking to you a long time ago. Because you never gave that fatherly love. So it's just you and your girlfriend, or you and your wife. I'm going to get back to that. Don't worry. I didn't forget. I know people think, man, you trail around a lot, but hey, it's like a boomerang. It always comes back if you throw it right. Kids move out, and all of a sudden you have nothing to really talk about. Then you wait for the topic to come up that your wife always seems to know. Hey, well, Jimmy got a new car. They're expecting their first kid, and gives you all the updates. So you talk about this a little bit, and then I'm telling you, if you're going to know if you have problems in your marriage when you start talking about stupid stuff like weather, flowers, because you don't even know her anymore. Let's go back to the car moment. Why did I bring the cars into it? Because I knew my cars. I knew how to fix them. I knew how to listen to sounds, and I knew something was going wrong, but I didn't listen to the sound that day because I was under something else that was controlling me. My thoughts were on other things, and I blew a perfectly good engine. Oh, wait. I'm glad you asked. It's called divorce. I blew a perfectly good relationship because I didn't want to work on it no more. I forgot why I started loving this person. Me, on the other hand, I know what you're going to say. Oh, what about... No, it was not love, people. I loved her children. And I told you in other videos that was the biggest mistake I ever made. Truly was. It truly, truly was the biggest mistake I ever made. I can see why God says to be ready and to pray for a godly person. I wish I would have known all this stuff. I wish I would have had somebody on YouTube back then telling me this stuff. Well, we didn't have YouTube. How much time do you put in preparing for football parties or events that you're doing, or guys coming over for guy thing, or playing poker, or whatever you're doing? You may say, well, should Christian people be doing that? I don't know. It's between you and God. Pray. I'm saying if it's anything that brings the devil into the equation, get it out of your house. You got to set the example. You got to set that bar. You got to let them know that God and Jesus, it's there. You got to let them know your spouse, because the kids will play that field, especially through divorces. My kids did it all the time. Mom said this. Mom said this about you. Well, Mom says, let your dad do it. Well, where's your mom been all them times? That's really what I wanted to say. Most of the time, she didn't even work. I wanted to say that, but I never did. Not until they got older. And they started asking me questions. And I was like, well, you were old enough. You seen it. You tell me. Now, if we're doing the right things, sometimes you got to tighten stuff up a little bit. Screws might come loose. The screen door may squeak a little bit. We got to oil things up. That's part of being a father. You remember back when you're children and you had training wheels? Well, back when kids rode bicycles. Man, I'm starting to feel really old. Does kids even ride bicycles anymore? I mean, do they really? That was the best thing in the world. I remember every Christmas waiting for a bike. I remember the first year I got my big wheel. I really do. I was in Copley, that house I talked about in Copley. Oh man, I loved that thing. It was blue. No, it was red. It had a blue toolbox on the back. It had a little flip-up box and a brake handle on the side. Big black wheel in the front. That's why they called it a big wheel. I love that thing. But you see, memories. You gotta leave memories for your kids. Your wife, your girlfriend has to know that you love them. Here's why I don't like people moving in with each other. And I tell my kids this all the time. My one daughter would come up to me and she goes, Dad, I don't think he's ever going to marry me. And I turned around and I'm telling you, I was cooking at the stove. This before I got remarried, in between all this. She stopped over and she's like crying and opening up. And I'm like, just listening to her. I'd go over and give her a hug and I said, are you ready for some truth? And she goes, well, that's why I came here, Dad. I said, he's not going to marry you. Why should he marry you when he's playing house, but he's not having the responsibilities? Because they don't need to. Doesn't need to marry you. He's got a maid, and that's exactly what he uses you as. You're supposed to cook, clean, go to work while he sits at home and plays video games all day. Dad, stop. It's the father to a couple of my kids. I said, and then the next guy's going to come in, and then you're going to have kids with him. And then the next guy's come in, you're going to have kids with him. When does it stop? When does the madness stop? It's not okay. These kids are not okay. You're bringing stuff into their lives that they think it's okay. So what do? They grow up. And before you know it, the generation after generation after generation, the same thing in the Bible. We get lost. Sodom and Gomorrah lost. Look at where we're at today. Because there's not enough love. There's not. You're not going to tell me that these children are growing up And I bet you, majority of them grew up without a father figure in their life. Divorce, if it happens, you got to stay strong, man. Men, you got to step up to the plate. You got to let your children know it's going to be okay. You got to be there. When they call, you got to take time to talk to them, especially now through this. They're going to need it more than anything. Don't break the mother down. I don't care what she's done. You got to be the bigger person. Maybe it's your fault. Maybe you didn't keep. Maybe your life was more important. Maybe the things you were doing was more important. Maybe she grew tired. Maybe she shut down. Maybe she got overwhelmed by being dad and mom. Maybe she also worked. Maybe she also worked and had to come home and clean a dirty house all day. When's the last time that anybody paid attention to mom? It can't be like this. It can't. We have to stop it. It's not too late. It's never too late. It's going to take a while to get the trust factor back in there. Yes. They got to see this stuff. You guys remember the girl I talked about that would cut herself? I still think about her. There's a few people on here. That's why I decided to do this father figure one now instead of later. I can't get over the visions that I see with the one girl. I wish and I pray, Lord Jesus, that her dad sees this video. And I don't know the guy. I don't know what he's done. I don't know any of the situations. And he might not be guilty of any of these things. But I want him to know the after effect. He needs to be dad now more than anything. Strike that. He needs to be a father, like our Father in heaven. You need to be a father in heaven right now, just like him. Anybody that goes through divorce, you need to be there for your children. The idea is to stay married. That's what I'm trying to help here. I'm trying to help people. Sometimes it's just beyond the current. You're coming to the waterfall and you realize the engine done fell off. You don't have any spare gas cans on there, and there's no oars because nobody checks anymore because you both shut down. And honestly, men, I know there's cases where you can do everything in us. You can do everything you possibly can. I've always said you can love somebody with everything you have, or you can hate somebody with everything you have, and it's still never going to be good enough. Well, sometimes it's not your fault. Sometimes it's just two ships that should have never been in the same port. One should have stayed in the Pacific, and the other one should have stayed in the Atlantic Ocean, and you should have just stayed there. But either way, there's responsibility. Let's get our kids back off these streets. The streets didn't have them. One day, you might sit back and go, man, I missed my daughter's wedding. Because you wasn't invited. You never want that feeling, my friends. Ever. You never, ever want that. You must continue to be there. Be the support. Even in your house. I know you may be tired. Look, I used to work from 4 o'clock in the morning, get home about 11 o'clock, and have to get right back up. Anybody called off, I had to go right back in. Anything broke in the nursing home, I had to go back in. Pipes broke during the winter. It was an old place. It used to be an old farmhouse, and they turned it into a 50-bed nursing home with a rehabilitation section put on it. Talking about old, man, that thing always, something was going on. Beds were getting broke, hurdle lifts were getting broke, IV poles, screw things. I mean, it was old. But I'd tear stuff apart and fix it. It was their home. That's all they had. I learned a lot working in that place. I really did. Because I listened. I listened to people that never had on the holidays anybody coming to visit them. I learned to listen when I was a little boy. I learned to watch the same way. It's up to you. The last thing you don't want in life is to get a phone call. Can you come down here and identify this body to see if it's your child? Well, why was my child there? Why are you asking them? You sure ain't gonna get no answer now if your child's in the morgue. You may never get an answer. And that's something that's gonna haunt. And that's something that's gonna bring division into your household. When's the last time you sat and asked your wife, is everything okay? Women tend to have these vibes about them sometimes, I guess. If you truly know your wife or your girlfriend as well as you say, you should be able to answer where her favorite restaurant is, what her favorite song is. Well, maybe not the song, because some songs change. I mean, look, I changed my music, so let's scratch that one off. But you should at least roundabout type music, song-wise. You better know what song you danced to at your wedding if you got married. You better remember the anniversary date. These days, it doesn't really... I don't know if people really still go, if they get upset over how many years you've been together. Good night. You know, you go quickly going, I'm on the spot here, and you see your wife or your girlfriend going, now women, you got to give us a little bit of leeway on this, okay? Because not that we don't think it's important, but never mind. It's a sinking ship, guys. I opened the can, and that one's gonna sink us. We better know our anniversary dates, for crying out loud. You better know the birthdays, and most of all, we probably could get by on some of the holiday stuff, but you don't really need it if you show her 365 days, 366 days if it's leap year. Even if you forget it's leap year, you better at least get to 365 days. It's called communication. When's the last time you just walked in the door and gave your wife a hug or a kiss and just thank her? She may look at you like, what? When's the last time you brought flowers home if it wasn't for I'm sorry? Them flowers, you might as well just throw those suckers out in the garbage, because they're going to die off just as quick as whatever you're sorry for. She don't need flowers. She don't need a box of candy. She needs the person that she fell in love with. Why don't I like people moving in together? Because it's too dang on easy to get lost. Most likely you will never get married. You'll do everything a married couple does, that's for sure. I guarantee it. Eventually, you always cave in. It always happens. You can say, no, it's never going to happen. Yes, it does. Never say never, because I'm telling you right now, it will present itself. Why? Because the devil wants it to. You understand, when you interact with a spouse, girlfriend, boyfriend, and you go into that area in life, your spirits are connecting. The intimacy, the fragrance that God receives from that. That's why it's so powerful. You understand? There's no excuses, but it happens. Because I've talked to a couple of people that I used to hang around with, and he says, I cheated on my girlfriend. And I'm looking at him like, why are you telling me? It's like, why? Why do you come to me with this stuff? Because now all you're doing is dumping a bunch of stuff on my lap. Because what color is the sky? Blue. Is it really blue? I don't know. People argue this fact. I was like, you just need something to argue about today? I can think of a lot better things to do than sit here and argue about what color the sky is. I don't really care. I just know it looks blue, so I'm calling it blue. It could be purple, pink, green, whatever. We spend too much time on the small things in life. That means nothing, because it's never going to get solved. He says, what do you mean, man? Because now if she comes up to me and I'm not really thinking, first of all, I'm not going to lie for you, so you might not want to come and tell me any of this stuff. I said, but I have to know something. Why? Well, he says, it's not the same anymore. We don't really talk. When we're all together, we're just watching TV, and we don't really do anything anymore. I was like, you mean relationship parts? Yeah. I said, you know I love you. And I do. This guy was like a brother to me. I said, was. I can overlook a lot of things in life. Some things I can't. I've forgiven. Today I have forgiven. And I do pray for this person. But I don't open the door back up for the devil. You may say that's judgmental. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because if it was judgmental, I couldn't even pray for the person. I just don't need these people in my life. Remember, I let God prune off people out of my life. People, things, places, whatever. I do want to apologize real quick while we're talking about men things. And it's hard for a man to muster it up, but I said your name. And after I said it, I go, dang, man, that's not his name. And hopefully if you watch this, you're going to laugh with me, because it's good for us. Here, let me give you a hug, man. I just love you, brother. Because sometimes I take people's names, because I'm always forgetting names. I will never forget a face unless something dramatic happens, like some people tattoo their face or piercings. I may, at that point, go, oh yeah, that is you, isn't it? And have the kindest words that I could possibly muster up at the time. Hopefully you find this funny, but this is how my brain works. I related your name with my favorite movie. I mean, if I was at home, I literally would take the camera out and show you my garage. I have the Millennium Falcon. I have Star Wars, not a bunch of stuff, but I mean, I used to have a lot of stuff, but one of the apartments I was in deliberately was caught on fire by the owner. Sent somebody in there to deliberately catch it on fire so he can claim the insurance claims. And Obviously, he got in a lot of trouble, but I lost a lot of things. So over the years, my sister bought me the original Millennium Falcon with Han Solo, depends on what you say, tomato, tomato. If you're looking at The Empire Strikes Back, Lando Calrissian, Billy D. Williams called him Han Solo, or Han. Anyways, that's how I relate it to your name, Luke. Shared an awesome story today, and I just seen it today. I don't know when you posted it, but I did reply back about you writing, and man, for a split moment, I went, I wish I was there with you. I really do. I truly miss riding bikes. The feel of it, the openness, the peace I had with God was the most important thing. I had one down in Florida, and I sold it, and it was the hardest thing I had to do. You may say, man, you got a lot of hard things you have to do. Well, that was one of them. It was an old school, I think it was a 76, 78 Honda. Big old bike, heavy bike. The guy I sold it to was young, just got out of some trouble, trying to start his life, and his mom bought the bike for him, and she goes, really, man, this is all I have. I sold it to her for $800. And I know sometimes people say, well, man, we had a lot of money, or you put a lot of money, whatever they say. I was only peaceful with it because I seen the look on his face when he put that helmet on and he put that thing down in gear and took off. He was smiling. I'll eat the money every day of the week. I enjoyed it. Still wish I had it. But I got a lot of God to keep moving me. I was thankful. I really was. I was thankful for the job at the time, that the money was coming in and the miles and stuff was good, because I was driving truck. So maybe this is what happens when my voice starts getting a little dry. Maybe the mic it's not picking it up good enough, so I do try to keep talking, but my gosh, sometimes it echoes so loud in here, it either seems like I'm talking too loud or not loud enough. So I do apologize if that's the case. If you're noticing my voice is dropping down because I'm trying to keep my voice from crackling, then tell me, yeah, Nelson, it's happening right about this time. And then I can at least go back and look at what I was talking about to see. Because sometimes when I scoot back, the mic's over here, like next to where, if I was looking, never mind. Trying to explain that one. But anyways, let's get back on there. Anyways, brother, I love you, man. And ride for me, man. Ride for me. Next time you go out riding, I want you to go out there and hit them trails. And I just want you to stop for a split moment. I don't know, the crazy thing is, I've always been fascinated with other countries. And please hear me out. I fell in love with Australia when I watched Crocodile Dundee. I'm serious. I was like, wow. The closest I think I've ever got to that experience when I walked through Arizona, through the desert, Nevada, and got to walk through the deserts. Only thing is, it starts getting dark, and you're out in the middle of no man's land. And all I could see, I'd walk a few miles. This is back before, I got hurt and stuff. But, somebody always told me, you don't want to be in the deserts at night, walking around, kicking a rock over, or stumble over something, because there's snakes. one particular night I went out there and I'm just looking up at the sky and I'm just thinking, going, man, God created all this. And I heard that. I'm going, that's a rattlesnake. You may say, Nelson, what does this have to do with me being a husband and a father? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because when you turn your kids loose to the devil, they're going to get bit. They don't hear the rattles. It's up to us to hear the rattles. Granted, they're eventually going to grow up and they're going to make their own decisions. We can't shelter them. We got to allow them to make mistakes. You're going to have to discipline them. But again, when you discipline, you got to love them too. You got to let them know, even from a little child, this is you're being punished right now for what you did. But you need to love on them too afterwards. Don't just leave the discipline and walk away and never show them love. They got to know they're going to be okay. They got to be able to trust you. They can come to you. Yeah, they know they're probably going to get in trouble for some, but they also know that you love them. They have to know this. They really have to know this. If you're still in a relationship, guys, trust me, even if you don't have a board game, shut everything down, shut your phones off, put everything into another room, unplug a landline if you have it, and just roll a dice. If you got dice. If you don't, whatever. Just sit there and go, how's everything going? Just talk with each other. Laugh. Tell something that's funny to you. Maybe they might not even know that you find something funny. Show them that it's okay to help mom when she's behind. Even if she is there all day. Even if she did just sit down out of the day and just watch TV. Don't judge it. There's a way to correct things. There's a way to talk to people. And there's a way to just say, okay. Guys, I want to tell you something. If you got kids and they're young, you got flu season, you got kids getting sick, get yourself some 5-gallon buckets. You're going to think I'm crazy, but hear me out. Get yourself some 5-gallon buckets, put some trash bags down inside this 5-gallon bucket, put a trash bag over it. Inside of there, put a heating pad, put towels, old ones. You always have a preparation for when they get sick. You got a bucket, you got towels, but you got trash bags in there. You ball that trash bag up, get rid of it, and put the next one in. Just pull it out of the bag, put it over the can, get it next to the bed. Get heating pads, because sometimes the heating pads help. Sometimes they're hot. I used to put a little miniature fan down in the bucket. Just a little FYI. Even if your wife's there by herself or your girlfriend, even if she's there by herself, it'll be nice. Especially if you got a couple kids and one's throwing up and she's trying to get the other one to somewhere. What if you only got one bathroom? Just saying. It's going to save her a lot of trouble. A lot of washing stuff, cleaning sheets. You ever clean sheets? I had 3 kids get sick at the same time. I thought of things real fast. All I had to do was run to wherever them buckets were and boom, 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 boom. You can't make it, grab the bucket. Even if, sometimes you just need a toilet and the bucket and they're running. Well, they're not throwing up all over all the way to the hallway because they know they can just grab that bucket and run with the bucket. Sometimes you may need to grab another bucket and have two of them in there because they might not make it to either one, even a holding the bucket. I guess where I'm going with this. And when the kids got older, they'd say, "Dad, why did you do that to us?" I said, "It's no different than going into a porta pot when you were at a campground or going to the campground thing. Same principle. I just got tired of scrubbing those sheets down and clothes. Yeah, there's still accidents. It's called an accident for a reason. I spent many nights cleaning carpets, scrubbing carpets down. Many nights I sat there and thought whether Mother did what she did. I'm thinking, how in the world? But it's okay. I did the right things. Even when nobody else was, I was doing the right things. That's what you got to do. The right things. You always got to be the right way. Now you may say, well, my wife stopped doing everything. She doesn't do this stuff anymore. Her job is more important. You know why? Because the devil wants to take your wife into these high dollar paying jobs because it wants to make them superior. Why? Because men were laying down. Now, maybe we can't make the money they can. Maybe we don't have the education. Maybe we don't have the skills as they have to have that job. Maybe you're right. But there's an order. And trust me, I'm going to get with that with the women too. Don't think that I'm going to let it go because they need to hear it too. But you got to step it up, man. Men, we got to step it up. We got to call back our children. We got to call back our households. We got to keep our marriage in check. We got to make sure that everything's lining up with God and Jesus and not the devil. Stop buying these babysitters because that's all they are. I mean, the youngest grandchild can turn on a phone and go through TVs and go through all this stuff like click, 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 click. I'm going, slow down. How'd you do that? We're talking 6, 7 years old here. Even younger. I went into a room one time and she was, I want to say like 3 or 4, putting DVDs into the Xbox, turning the paddle on and and watching a movie. It floored me. It's sad. And today, the last time I seen her was a couple years ago, like I said, and she's just sat there and played on a stupid tablet thing. Sad. The devil's taking them. We got to stop them. We got to step it up, man. We got to come to that level in life where we say, I don't care, even if your father was a bad father. Most of the time I never called my father, I call him Dad. Because he never really was a father figure, and he really never was a dad figure. Most of my life, all I've known from men was how to be beat by them. You don't want your kids growing up in that now, do you? You don't want them to go out and find something like that. You don't want them to get into relationships because they're watching and thinking it's okay to give up. It's another reason why I don't like boyfriend and girlfriend status. Living in the same household. It's too easy to give up. It's too easy to leave. It's not, the place ain't my name, it's in your name. I'm out of here. You come home and the stuff's gone. Because the grass is greener on the other side. No, it's not. It just looks that way. The devil makes everything look better on the other side. Well, this is about where I'm going to end this one at. kind of just giving you some foundations on how to get everything back in the pocket from the devil. Don't let him win. Pay attention to what your children's doing. Pay attention to what they're wearing. Pay attention if they're walking out of there half naked, because they might not come home. Don't blame. Don't go on TV crying, my daughter's gone. Well, look, what was she wearing last? I don't know. We got to find her. Well, yeah, most likely she's probably already 3 or 4 states over. These people move fast. Doesn't have to be this way. Your children's wearing something inappropriate, it's up to you to stop them. I mean, look at the nonsense that we put up with out there now. I mean, grown men out there with their pants all hanging down and their boxers and stuff sticking. You know, I just want to sometimes walk up to them and go, do you know that's a prison thing there? Do you really know that? Truly, it's a prison thing. It meant that I'm available. Not only that, have some respect. Pull up your pants. Your kids are going to do this. Somebody else is going to see this. What is wrong with us? The devil's taking control over too much stuff, people. Too much. We are allowing him to gain ground, and he's running wild. It's like a wildfire that you just can't stop. It just keeps coming until it devours everything. One day, the time's going to come in judgment. That's one of the videos I'm getting ready to do. God's judgment. Few people's asked, I don't understand this. The Bible says this, but you're talking about this way or that way, because it is. People will be judged. Why does people go to heaven but end up in hell? Because they're judged. They go through the judgment room, and they're judged accordingly. If you're not a godly person, you're going to go through the judgment room. You're still going to bow down. You're still going to confess the Lord Jesus Christ, because the Bible even says all men, everybody, shall bow down and confess. Even in the time of the rapture, even in the end time, the very last time. Man, get me going on that one. I'm liable to start that one next. That one. Wow. But there's one I'm going to do next. And it's not the women. I know the guys probably saying, oh, I can't wait. I'm waiting. You know why I'm waiting a little bit on that one? Because I want you to love your wife. I want you to start showing her you're that man, that protector. Even if you've already separated, you're divorced, don't be mean, but love your children. Respect her, even if you can't. Respect her. If you're a Christian or non-Christian, sometimes hate grows in real fast. If you don't know Christ, come on over and I'll introduce you to my best friend. But I want you to respect that person, per se. Now, it's no longer a spouse, no longer a girlfriend, but I still want you to respect her. I know you may say, man, you're off your rocker. You know what this person done? Yeah, I know. I still want you to respect her. You know why? Because you have children. You have children. See, a lot of times I fell into that rut because my children, blah, 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 and I fell right into the devil's trap. Don't you do what I did, man. Be the bigger person. It took me a long time to get where I'm at. If you say, well, how? I can give you a way today, how? Today, if something happened in my life that the person I'm married to leaves or passes away, or we've always said from day one, when we sat down, we talked till like 1 o'clock in the morning. One of the things that we both agreed on, if we're ever not happy, if we're ever dissatisfied in something, we're going to sit down and we're going to figure it out. If we can't, then we just part ways. Because I never want to bring unhappiness to her life. I never want to bring anything into her life that's going to bring her pain or sorrow. Because she doesn't deserve it. My life was a mess. It took me, after my divorce, and the great thing is my first divorce, I finally got it finalized on my birthday. Best thing that ever happened in my life in a long time. Somebody asked me once, well, why'd you marry her? I said, because I knew in my mind that paperwork was final. The devil was finally out of my life. You may say, that's the craziest thing I ever heard. Well, wait till I get into that video. You'll understand it. It'll give you something to think about. Anyways, let's pray. Heavenly Father, Father, I love you. Father, I praise you. Father, I just lift up everybody that's going to view this. Men, I'm calling you out, men. It's time to step back up to that pitcher's mound. It's time to grab that ball back from the devil. It's time for you to get your team in order. It's time for you to lead them into this rapture, into this final hours. If you don't know Jesus Christ, come on over. Like I said, I'll sit down with you as long as it takes. Yeah, I will personally sit down with you. Man, I drive for a long period of time. If you truly need help, forget the emails, forget the comments, forget the things. I'll personally give you my number. You may think I'm crazy, but the only thing I will say, you might want to text me first, because if I don't know your number, I am not picking it up. But that's how serious I am with this. God has called me for a reason. God has kept me alive for a reason. All these things I tell you is truthful. I've lived a life that probably most people should have died from. But God has kept me here, and the devil's mad. Oh, yes, he's mad. You think this video he's going to be mad? Oh, yes. Because when you start standing up and you start reading that Bible, and you start bringing your family into that Bible, and you start sitting there having a night, maybe not watching TV or a dang on movie, and you say, let's pick up the Bible and let's just talk about this scripture for a little bit. Let's sit down and think about what this scripture means and get everybody's opinion. Maybe you even have little rewards. Buy some candy bars or something and have a snack or something. Each person's favorite. And if they start getting the stuff right, give them something. I'm not saying you necessarily got to do it every time, but I'm just saying once in a while, it's a nice little treat. And they're enjoying life. You're enjoying things. You could be dirt poor, but you're never too poor to give love. The Father gave us love. The Lord Jesus Christ gave us love. He taught us how to be obedient, taught us how to keep moving, taught us how to love, and taught us how to respect. Lord, open up the eyes, take them blinders off the devil, put on these fathers, take off these muffles, and let them not hear the devil whispering constantly in their head. Let that demon escape through those ears, and you plant the seeds on the soil that I have just plowed for you. And Father, I ask you to water these seeds, because it's on good soil now if they accept it. There's no more excuses. Today's a new day. No matter where you're at, how you're doing it, what time zone you're in, what country you're in, because we are created by one creator. We live on one earth that was formed by the Lord's hands, and all things was created through the living word. He was the word. He is the word, Jesus Christ. So we have no excuses. We have no excuse in what time it is, because you still have daylight and you still have night. It's what you do with it. Guys, I lift you up, man. I really do. And I know some of you are going to get a little offended, but I'm already ready for the comments. Maybe not. Maybe you're going to sit back and go, man, I'm hoping. I'm hoping you're going to have that man moment. That's what I say sometimes when I'm like kicked back. I don't know. I got weird ways of doing stuff, I guess, but I have a lot of moments that I call different things, and this would be one of those. Man, wow. Somebody asked me once, you use wow a lot. If it's just single wow, I'm excited. If it's wow wow, I'm a little irritated, or I just can't believe what I'm hearing at the moment. So that explains it. All right, guys. God bless you. I love you. Till the next one. See you there.